All right, bet. Let's get into it. I've been dying to get this one recorded this week. I was a little bit under the weather and couldn't really get on the mic. It was sounding crazy and, really just didn't have the energy to get it done. But here we are. We back and we live. Pizza King podcast. I'm the host, Tyrell Reed, Pizza King, here to give you real life, practical advice on running your shop, building your team, growing your business. So thanks again for joining me. Appreciate everybody that is tuning in, anybody that's listening, everybody that reaches out to me. I can't be more grateful. Like seriously, I get to set up my laptop and get on this mic and talk about pizza and what we do and what I do every day. So, super grateful. But yeah, like I said, under the weather. It sucked to spend Father's Day kind of holed up in the room and not feeling well. Who comes up with those phrases? Yeah. As I was saying under the weather, I was thinking to myself, that makes no sense. Who made that up? Who was the first person to say I'm under the weather and they were referring to not feeling well? The hell does that even mean, under the weather? I can't even begin to think about how many of those crazy phrases or sayings there are in our language and in our cultures. That one's just kind of funny to me. Under the weather. The hell does that even mean? But here we are. I guess I'm back above the weather, on top of the weather. I'm good. I feel better. Get my energy back at the gym this morning. So we're on a mission. I got this little wager going on with Paul to get my run time down. We got a bet that I can run an 8-minute mile by September. So your boy is working hard. It's going to take a lot of work. So 5K every Friday until we get there. All of it in preparation for the treasure chest 5K with the Bucks in September, which is going to be dope. But y'all didn't come here to hear about that. You came here to talk to me about crazy phrases that make no sense. The one that I want to talk about is actually part of what I want to do and what I want to talk about today. I got my notepad. I want to talk about this phrase that has plagued the business, right? The customer is always right. The customer is always right. The customer is always right. And while on some level, I disagree with that statement. The customer isn't, I don't think that the customer is always right, but the customer does always pay. And what are we here for? We're here, you want to be right or you want to get paid? You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to win here? I want to talk about customer service. That's something that has been kind of a struggle over this last generation of restaurant operations and pizzeria operators. The service piece is kind of going out the window, and for whatever reason, there's technology taking over, and people cost more, and you're getting less skilled people for what you can afford to pay. Blah blah blah. There's probably a long list of reasons or causes to that. But, what can we do as leaders to improve our experience, to improve our service, to improve the overall care from our team, right? I mean, when people care, then the service is better. When people don't care, then you get shitty service. So how do you work on that? How do you solve those things? How do you handle customers that have complaints? How do you keep the team? How do you get the team to care enough about it, right? And that's something that is important to me. Something there's things that I've learned. There's things that we still continue to work on, because it's a never ending process. Like we always say, it's never built. It's always building. same thing with service. It's something that we have to constantly work on. And what I wanted to talk about, or what I'm going to talk about is, you know, how we solve those complaints and how we look at our relationship with the guest, and how that plays into solving, you know, whatever their issues are. Because let's be honest, as hard as we work and as much as we try, we're not perfect. We make mistakes. Sometimes those mistakes are met with grace and sometimes they're not. Sometimes people are pissed off about their pizzas and we have to solve that. This came up because I was talking to an operator, a couple of days ago about some issues that they had been having with customers who were ordering from wrong location. And the guest reached out to me and said, "Hey, look, I feel like they took my money. Like, order from the wrong store, made a mistake, tried to contact the other store and tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I got it from the wrong place. Can you refund my money?" And, you know, the operator or whoever they talked to at that point told them, "Look, that's not our problem. You ordered it. You need to come get your food. We're not giving you the money back." It was like, ooh. And when I talked to the operator, you know, they're like, "Look, man, it's not our fault that they order from the wrong store. How do we prevent them from doing that? We can't just take the loss on those things." And I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, you're not so willing to help a customer that isn't yours. But on the other side, how would you want to be treated if you were the guest in that situation? Like, we're all operators, but we're also all consumers too. So I always tell them, like, just think about yourself on the other side. Like, how do you want the situation to be handled if that were you? If that were someone from your family, if that was your child, that was your wife, that was your husband going through that, how would you want that to be handled? And, you know, I'm always one to say, let's just meet that with grace and give them the benefit of the doubt. Because to me, every time you have to solve something for a customer, I encourage operators to think about the long-term value of that relationship, not the transaction. Don't think about the transaction, because that's a speck in time from a long-term relationship, especially if you plan to be here, you plan to be, you know, if you want to build a good business, you got to be a part of the community. You got to be local. You have to be, I imagine you're not here just to do this for the weekend, right? You want to be here forever, 20 years, 30 years. You want a long-term business, and big businesses and long-term businesses are built on reputation. So when I think about solving these issues, when I think about handling complaints, or if you got to do refunds, and that's what it came down to. Like, man, we can't keep giving money away on these refunds. And it's like, ooh, we're just talking about a couple dollars. So you think about the value. So I tell them this is, you know, and I'm kind of jumping around, but I would say, let's think about the value of a guest. And I think, you know, we kind of went through and did the math, but a regular customer is worth, and I mean, and I say regular, I mean that, you know, every other week, someone orders from you twice a month, I would consider them to be a regular. Somebody orders from you every week, you should treat them like GOAT. But someone that orders from you, you know, twice a month, that customer was worth about $800. So if you're building a business and you got, you know, 1,000 customers and half of them are regulars, we're talking about $400,000. So I would say every time you try and prove this point, take $800, ball it up, throw it the hell away. And then you think about it like, ooh, I would never do that. I would never take $800 and just throw it away to prove a point. So what are we really trying to do when we get into these right or wrong, these I didn't make the mistake, it's your mistake, why should I have to pay for it situations with the customer? And one thing I always say is there's no win and loss between us and the guest. There's just not. Like, not over a pizza. Now, if you know, if I got to protect my team, you're threatening somebody, you're doing, yeah, I'll bust your ass over that. Like, that's when we can get into the right or wrong. But we're just talking about the order. There's no right or there's no win and lose. There's no right or wrong. The only time we win is when they come back. So say I did, it was your mistake and I prove you wrong and I don't give you your money back and you never come back to me. So I won that interaction, but I lost the relationship. I lost the customer. But if I solve it for you and you come back and you appreciate that and you tell somebody, like, come on, you can't even quantify the value of that. If I solve it for you, especially if I go above and beyond, because that's, you know, I'll get into that in a second, but if I solve it for you and you appreciate that, then you're going to come back. And that's where we win. And that's where the value is. When, you know, our job is to keep the register ringing, right? You try to win that argument, you go, that's just money. That's a guess. That's a relationship thrown away and possibly even more soured. So if you're in that situation, you're an operator, I would caution you to just check the ego and don't try to be right. When I was with Fuzzies, great company out of Fort Worth. When I was with Fuzzies, they would take, you know, put their own spin on LAST, which is, we all know what LAST is: listen, apologize, solve, and thank. So when we're talking about handling customer complaints, listen, apologize, solve, and thank. But they took it one step further and they put the B on LAST. So, and the B was believe. Believe them, believe the customer. Like it made so much sense. Like every step of it becomes that much more impactful when you actually believe that they have a problem for you to solve. If you don't believe a customer, you're not gonna give it your full attention. You're not gonna give it you're not gonna put your heart into it. But if you start with belief and you say, man, maybe this person, you know, wow, we did make a mistake. Let me try to fix this. Let me take care of this. You start with belief when you're listening. So, and we'll BLAST, blast. Believe, listen, apologize, solve, and thank them for the opportunity to solve the problem. That's how you recover somebody. So when you start with belief, everything else falls into place. Listen. Now leaders, I'm telling you, listening is a skill that is absolutely crucial as a leader. It's something that you need to be passing on to people. Like, you have to be able to listen, decipher, understand, so that you can then solve the issue. So believe, listen attentively, apologize for the situation. An apology is not an admission of guilt. Just because you apologize for the situation, I'm sorry that happened. And if we screwed up, I'm sorry that we screwed up. I'm sorry that we ruined dinner tonight. Like, how can we fix it? Apologize. And then solve that shit. Like, don't say, oh man, that's sorry, next time you will get it back. No, solve it. Fix it. How can I make this right? And it's not, I can't stand those cookie cutter approaches to solving problems for customers. Oh, no, sorry, we'll just give you credit for the next one. We'll give you credit. Oh, we get next pizza's on us. Hey, come on, man, that's weak. Like, listen to them and solve the problem. If you screwed up the birthday party, how are we gonna fix that? We didn't get dinner, man. I'm sorry about that. How can I get your dinner back together? Man, you had to order from somewhere else. No, I apologize. how can I fix that for you? And it's about solving it to their standard. Like, how do we fix it for them? Not for what works with our POS system, not for what fits inside our parameters. How do we solve it for them? And then we thank them for that opportunity, because the scariest thing in the world to me is the person who has an issue and never says anything, because you know what happens? That person don't come back. Thank them for bringing it to light that you had an issue. Thank them for speaking up on that complaint. Appreciate that, because that customer is giving you a chance. They didn't have to do that. They can just say, you know what? West Shore didn't get it right. I can't do this. I ain't going back there. And that's the worst thing that can happen, because then you don't even know that there's an issue in your operation, and B, you lost a customer. And what did we say a customer's were? A regular customer twice a month, $800 a year. All of the money, throw it away. And that just can't happen. That is so scary for me. So, and I tell my teams, you know, when I was running the stores, I would always tell folks, and let me back up a little bit. As a leader, you have to empower people, and we'll go to that solve. You need to empower people to, you know, empower them to solve it. Like, stop putting all these layers in there. If somebody's got to complain, and then they got to go get a manager, and then the manager got to talk to the owner, and then come on, man. Why are we giving people to run around about a pizza? Empower the cashier to solve that thing. Empower whoever interacts with that customer to solve it, or give them a path to a solution. So like, and I used to tell the managers, and Chad who worked for me for a long time, he'll tell you, like, I'll try to fix it before it gets to you, because if it gets to me, I'm gonna solve the hell out of it. Like, if we messed up your pizza, I'm gonna give you your money back. I'm gonna give you the pizza. I'm gonna replace the pizza. I'm gonna give you another pizza to give to your neighbor. I'm gonna give you a gift card to the restaurant that you had to order from because we screwed up dinner. Like, well, I'm going above and beyond, because I care about that relationship. I care about you coming back. So like, make it so that they want to solve it before it gets to you. And you know what? And that he didn't like that, because of, you know what happened? Oh, that cost us. Oh man, my food cost gonna be a little bit higher. We just gave away 4 pizzas for one pizza that we screwed up. Oh, you know, it's too much. And that's the point. It's gotta be too much. If you got a problem in my place, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna bring it. I'm coming out there myself. Man, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm gonna bring it to you myself. If it reaches me, then we got a problem, and I'm really attentive to the solution. So empower your people to solve those things, you know, and let them see you going above and beyond. Don't let them be afraid to take care of somebody, because if it starts going through too many layers, things get lost, people get confused, like, you know, communication gets dropped, and it's just too much. You ever play that telephone game where you can whisper in somebody's ear? Then by the time it comes back around, the whole damn message changed. It's the same thing with a complaint. If you got to go through all these layers to solve things, don't do that. Like, come on, man, give these people the power to take care of this stuff. So empower your folks. What else did I have? I mean, I wrote a note that says indifference is a killer in the restaurant business. It's something my buddy Greg Salmon used to say. He would say one of the biggest killers in the restaurant game, or in the customer service experience in general, is that feeling of indifference. Meaning, people are bringing us their hard-earned money for an experience at our place, a product, a night out, a family dinner, whatever it is. They work hard for those dollars, and they trust us with taking care of whatever experience they're coming to. We shouldn't treat them like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about customer service, and indifference is a killer. Don't make people feel like you could do with or without their business. That is the dumbest shit I ever heard. Like, why would you treat somebody like that? Like, you're trying to build a business. Come on, man, appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's all I got. So blast, believe, listen, apologize, solve, and thank. Stop treating people like they don't matter. Empower your folks and go above and beyond with your solutions. Take care of folks. And that's my customer service spiel. And that's where we're gonna leave it. We're gonna wrap it up. Pizza King, Tyrell Reed. Remember, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We're really trying to build and grow this podcast, so I appreciate any feedback. Please leave those comments, give us ratings. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on YouTube. Obviously, we put these clips out on Instagram and TikTok. So go follow me, Tyrell Reed Sr. Just show some love. Share this with somebody that you think may need to hear it. Anybody wants to link up with me, you can email me info@tyrellreed.com. Again, we got the 21-day Next Level Leaders course for free on the website. And we got free 45-minute strategy session if you're trying to build your team. You need some tips. You need a strategy for taking your restaurant operation to the next level. We always start with leadership. We always start with team building. I do a free 45-minute strategy session. I set aside a couple of days a week to talk to folks, couple of hours for a couple of days, so I can realistically do like 3 or 4 a week. So jump on my calendar. Let's chat. Let's talk. Again, appreciate you. This has been fun. Episode 3. Can't wait to talk next week. Take care. Peace.